right. Welcome. Coffee, water with the coaches today again.
I already finished my coffee.
You already finished your coffee. I'm a little late today on my coffee, but I'm excited. Great topic today because we're talking about one big myth that people think you can catch up sleep on the weekend. We're talking about sleep. You can't catch up sleep on the weekend. So if you're thinking you're doing your 4 or 5 hours during the week, Monday through Friday, and then you're going to sleep 11 hours on the weekend, and that will get you all covered again. Nope, not happening. So if you struggle with sleep and, falling asleep, staying asleep, not sleeping long enough, whatever it is, we only have about 25 minutes. So we're not covering everything today because it's a big topic.
There's so many things we could talk about.
So many things to talk about, but the goal is to kind of touch on different things and understanding a little bit more what all affects sleep and what you could maybe go explore more or reach out to us. Shannon, want to introduce
Hi, Shannon. I am a coach and I help women heal after miscarriage, and I have the Miscarriage Warriors community.
Yeah, and your clients do struggle with sleep because they're super stressed and after going through miscarriage, it's tough. And
it does. It affects your sleep.
It does affect the sleep. And I'm Heike Fallon, and I am a brain-based coach, certified high performance coach. So I help people really implement the healthy habits that they need for holistic self-leadership. And yes, sleep is a big one that always is part of it because sleep is that important. And myself struggled for a long time with sleep myself. So knowing that I had to really figure out how to sleep again, that was a journey. I learned a lot. So we're going to share a lot today. So
you know what I find interesting? This is like one of the first things that pops into my mind when talking about sleep. And I think everyone has a different sleep schedule and a different way of being able to function. And for a really long time, when I first started getting into personal growth, there was a huge push of get up at 5 a.m., do this. And, I really jumped into that. But I was going to bed at like 10 because I have children, and I had an older child at the time who was going to bed later. So we needed to stay up. And so I wasn't getting enough sleep, but I didn't realize it because I was like, oh, well, this is how I'm supposed to do it. These are the things I'm supposed to do. And I have to be a morning person in order to be successful. And I've had this conversation with a couple of my clients too, who they've moved past grief, but they're working on themselves now. And they struggle with this idea of, well, I need to get up early because this is what the gurus keep telling me to do. And it wasn't until I realized I don't like getting up early. I like sleeping in. I really like my bed. And I had to really play with my schedule and try to figure out, okay, well, I know I can go to bed at 10. So I know I need, for me, 8 to 9 hours of sleep. I mean, I need to do that. So if I go to bed at 10 and I wake up at 6, that's usually okay. So I'm usually getting enough. So, and my boys have to be up early. So for school. So I can get enough sleep and get up at 6 and get everyone ready. And then I come home and then I can do the things that I was doing at 5.
And you touched right on the most important thing. Everybody is different.
Yeah.
Everybody's
it's important
different.
to figure out what works for you.
Do not follow what you think or people tell you to do. I am not a morning person at all either. I'm kind of I used to be a late person, turned to kind of like the mid person.
Yeah.
So it's a true thing, early bird, later gator kind of thing. It's a real thing. It's how and I'm going to just jump right into a little bit of background because I think first we need to understand some basics. And a couple things to know is sleep we sleep at night, right? And we do need to sleep because sleep is important for our brain and our body to recover. There's a lot of stuff happening at night. It's not quiet there. It's actually there's a restoring and repairing happening. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of different hormone releases at certain times. We're not going to go deep into it, but there's certain times have cortisol releases happening, and other neurotransmitters and things are basically rebuilt and restored overnight. And that's why we sleep and need sleep. And the average person does need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. If you think, one sec, if you think that you need just 5 and you're like, oh, it's been working, it's because your system more likely has adapted to that rhythm, but it will bite you at the end in your health, because you may have not realized until you really take, let's say, 2-3 weeks off from work, which I know, challenge in the US, but let's say you take 2 weeks off and actually sleep longer, then people realize, oh, okay, you know, I feel different now. But they are in basically a survival mode. There's only a very, very, very low percentage that can live, or 5 hours is enough. The average really needs 7 to 9 hours per night of sleep.
And women need more.
And women might need more depending on what time they're in. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, I'm a person too. I'm better on like more 8 to 9 than I am, and somebody else might be good with 6.5, 7, wherever it is for them. But with that said, is we all need that sleep, because we need that for our health, our well-being, because that's when it really, the restoring and repairing in the brain and body happens. Now,
and that's where I was going to say is when you're restoring, that's why when you are in grief, why you need extra sleep, because your brain is trying to rewire itself and heal and figure out the new norm, right? The new normal, the new reality. So for my women who had been through miscarriages, their brain had gone to this other reality of, okay, I'm going to have a baby, I'm making a baby, and da, da, da. And now it goes through a huge shock, and your brain has to rewire itself, and that is exhausting. And so that's why I always tell my community, one of the most important things you should do is sleep. And sometimes we have this idea that sleeping is lazy, or sleeping is it's self-indulgent. It's not. When you are in grief and when you are going through something really difficult, your brain needs to heal and you need to sleep. Your whole body needs to sleep.
And it's not just rewiring, it's rewiring, and it's the rebalancing of the hormones. Because when we are in trauma and stress situation, there's of course more the high stress, like cortisol and adrenaline and that kind of hormones released, and it gets out of whack. And that's why you need a little bit, possibly some people, more sleep, because that needs to be balanced. And sleep isn't the only factor to do there. We're not covering that today, but we talked before about how important it is to journal and to have a community. So watch those other ones that we recorded about the importance of community, and having a coach, for example, can be helpful. But so sleep is only one component on that one, but sleep is very important. And if traumatic things happen, you may need more sleep, and it's okay. Like you said, don't feel guilty if you need more, and you need to cancel things because you need to take care of yourself. That is the number one thing you need to do. Another fact is that most people not realize is sleep isn't just happening at night. the sleep is part of the circadian rhythm. It's a 24-hour cycle. So we can't just look at the night and that's our sleep and that's it, because it depends on what happens during the day. Oftentimes people go like, oh, I'm already not on the screen at night. I'm already doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm still not sleeping. Well, but how did your day look like? Because if your day was extremely stressful, if you did get up super early and that's not your time to get up, and did you have that afternoon? So what happened throughout the day impacts your sleep too. So if you had a lot of stress in the morning, it may impact your sleep. It's a 24-hour cycle. We have to look at the whole thing. And that's when we're talking, when somebody says to put Well, how do I catch up sleep? Well, you can catch up sleep within the 24 hours. So if you take a nap, for example, if you didn't have a good night's sleep and you take a nap the next day, not too long. Usually the research is kind of
like 10 to 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, most research says 10 to 20 minutes is most efficient. Some people say don't do more than 60 minutes. It's what I found too with my clients is you have to see which one makes you rejuvenated and which time gets you totally like knocked out. Because
Right.
if I take a nap for 60 minutes, forget the rest of the
I'm
day.
done for the rest of the day.
I'm done.
But 10 minutes.
If it's 10, 20 minutes, exactly, then it's like refreshing, right?
So Andrew Huberman talks about this. I bring him up all the time. Watch the other videos. I bring him up all the time. But he's a neuroscientist at Stanford. He has his own podcast, but he talks about that a lot. And he talks about some of the most effective people, most successful people take a 10 to 20 minute nap during the day. He also greatly stresses, like this is his biggest thing. And I find this to be true as well. I've implemented it in my morning, is going outside and being in sunlight for 10 minutes within, like before 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Just getting your sunlight into your eyes actually helps your circadian rhythm.
Yeah, and not looking directly into the sun.
No, don't look at
he stresses that too. Do not do that. So absolutely true. The reason, so when you do the sunlight viewing in the morning, it impacts your circadian rhythm in a positive way, which impacts your sleep. And the reason why is because our circadian rhythm and our sleep cycle depends on melatonin release. And so technically, we're really screwing ourselves up with all these lights, the artificial lights. We're screwing ourselves up because we're not really following the natural rhythm. And what the natural rhythm technically would be is when it gets dark, when the sun sets, actually melatonin production gets ramped up, which makes us tired, makes us sleepy. So then,
which is why the time change is so difficult for us.
That's why the time change is so difficult. And that's why you shouldn't be on computer screens or have like a lot of overhead light in the evenings, because your melatonin production doesn't start. It kind of screws it up, and then it kind of inhibits it, and then you're not getting in that rhythm. And but the key is in the morning, and it's particularly the wavelengths of the sunlight that helps stopping the melatonin production. So it's good to also open the blinds or something like that, but it's not the same looking through the window. It's not.
Yeah, he says you need to get outside.
You have to get out, and it has to be, because it's all about the wavelength of the light that has the impact.
Says that at nighttime too, if you can watch the sunset, because it's the hues.
It's the red wavelengths, that actually help. And that's why, again, when people ask me what can I do in the evening, sometimes wearing these red tinted glasses could help with sleep. Again, we're going to throw out a bunch of things in our time today. There are things to try out. Doesn't mean we're all different. The red glasses, I've had people like, whoa, that changed it for me. And other people tried the red glasses. So it didn't make
the red glasses, they don't wear them to sleep.
No, just before, like the hour before, half hour before, what you can do is red glasses. You can also put like a red light bulb in a lamp. So you have that red light, helps.
Red light district.
Yeah, exactly. You make your own little red light district. But it's about the wavelengths of the red light that helps the system to calm down and starts the body and brain to get ready for the night. And that can tremendously help with sleep. So,
and also having any light in the bedroom when you're trying to sleep. So like even like the ambient lighting can affect your sleep. So, and this is another tool that I'm going to throw out there that I use and has been tremendously effective. I got and I think I've mentioned this before, a sleep mask.
Oh, me too.
And combined with the sleep mask, it has Bluetooth on it. And I listen to brown noise.
Okay.
Which some people may not be comfortable having Bluetooth, like sleeping with it. which is fine. Each his
Well,
own.
it depends on if they're sensitive to the wavelength of the Bluetooth. So some people are, again, because it's again a wavelength, right? And the brain has brain wavelengths, and the brain, when it sleeps, has different wavelengths at different stages. Are the REM sleep has a different wavelengths than the deep sleep. And so for some people, having a Bluetooth on or any electronic devices can impact their sleep. So you got to try it out, right?
Yeah.
And so for some other ones, it may
I travel with it now.
Yep.
Like I think it's the best thing. I mean, because one, I'm not seeing any light, which I am a very sensitive sleeper. And I am sensitive to noises too. So anytime like I hear anything in the house, dog move, like I'm awake.
Yep.
So this has been really helpful. So that's one thing to tool to try.
And I have to say, I used to make fun of the sleep mask because I think it just looks so stupid. But
I love it.
Like nowadays, they almost like mini bras. But I actually, a friend of mine who kept visiting had them, and I'm like, oh man, she swears by them. I got to try it out. So I ended up trying out a different kind because I don't like it when it's on my eyes. So the ones I got is a little thicker material, and it's kind of shaped, so it's not on your eyes, but it's not neoprene, but it's a little padded or thicker.
That's what I have.
Makes it also warm, and so I love that it calms my eyes down because it creates a little bit of warmth in the eyes, and I am not sleeping without it at all because for me, it's the dark, but it's also that it calms my eyes down, and it really helps to relax the system for me. And also, but I love to touch on again, because you said utilizing different sounds. So one other option too, which I used for quite some time, not currently anymore, but when I really struggled, you can, and there's a bunch of different apps that you can use to listen to sound waves, and there's specific ones that the apps actually create now for specific sleep stages. And so when you listen to those sounds, so that's particularly for somebody struggling falling asleep, or particularly when you wake up in the middle of the night and you want to fall back asleep, that's why I used it too. You got to put on the binaural beats.
I love binaural beats.
So you do have to use headphones because they binaural, meaning two, so it's not the same left and right, but the sound waves that you get from those sounds that are particularly wavelength, those impact your brain, and they end up, and this is so cool, the brain sings to the sound, and so it can get you into those stages faster. Now, with all that said,
you can also use it to help you concentrate. So if you listen to binaural beats 5 minutes before you need to concentrate, I listen to them when I'm working. Yeah,
so that exactly. So the apps, it's kind of cool because pretty much all apps that I've looked at,
you can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, the YouTube apps, whatever, but they tell you too, for sleep, for focus, they already categorized like that. So you will obviously don't want to take one for deep sleep when you want to focus. It's, you want to take the right one for the right task you want to do.
I don't know. Maybe I want to sleep.
Hey, a good little nap.
I do like to sleep.
When you wanted to focus. So those are some strategies, right? I mean, then of course the obvious are, which we just said already, kind of having the bedroom dark. A lot of people know that having the bedroom dark, having the right temperature in the room matters. Sound noises matter, yes. Obviously mattresses and pillows matter, and it's you got to figure that out.
Did you know that tart cherry juice has melatonin in it? And so if you're struggling with sleep, to have a glass of tart cherry juice like half an hour before sleep.
That is very interesting. No, I did not know, but I do know, and I want to encourage anybody who's listening, because I get that question all the time with my clients, like, well, I'm just taking melatonin. And so here's the problem. The problem is the body produces, the brain produces the melatonin, and naturally, and anything that we add, then the body will stop producing it. So
you won't be able to make your own melatonin.
Is it a solution for a short-term solution? Absolutely. You might want to take a very short-term to get a rhythm going again, but highly, highly recommend not to do it for long term, because in the long term, you're disrupting the natural production. And so and that happens oftentimes with certain medications as well. So we want to be very mindful not to take that for months or years, which I have encountered. And I encourage not to do that, because you're stopping your natural production of melatonin. So it can help temporarily. I'm not saying ever don't do anything, of course, but be mindful to do it very short term to get maybe, get a rhythm going again. Kick it in the right gear, but then do not continue with that, because it does screw up your natural production. Another thing to remember too is though, and I have to say that helped my sleep really. I mean, my sleep was so derailed. I was like I'm living in a jet lag I lived in a jet lag for like 10 years. Because
my God.
My sleep was so disrupted to chronic pain. And I was like, I had like one night per year where I woke up the next day. I'm like, oh, that's how
I feel good.
Hello. But so with that said, when you have a real disrupt sleep like I had, you cannot just implement a little here and a little here. It won't change. You need to really make a full commitment to your sleep. That's what I ended up doing. I think it was in 17, 18. I finally said, enough. I canceled and skimmed everything down as far as my clients to very minimum. And I said the next 4 months, all I'm going to focus on is my sleep. And I really was extremely, because mine was so disrupted that there was no rhythm anymore. And
so you were waking up because you were in pain?
Yeah, I kept waking up because I was in pain. But then at some point when it's with pain, right, sometimes the brain the signals are so hypersensitive. So when you're struggling with chronic pain, sometimes there is no pain, but the brain gets used to waking up.
Yeah, the body gets used to waking up at that time.
It thinks it's pain, but there might not be pain. So, and sometimes it's really pain and sometimes not. So it got used to the hey, we wake up every time at 1:30.
Yeah.
Even though there wasn't really pain, but the brain decided that's the time we want to wake up. So with that said, though, if you really have a disrupted sleep, it's not enough to, I tried this for a couple of days. You need to really try for anything that I say you implement. I recommend my clients to do it at least 6 weeks to 8 weeks to really see a change in things. If you do it just 2-3 days and go, the mask didn't really make a difference for me. Well, no, because it is the brain adapts to everything we do. It does when it's really one way kind of adapted, then it does
have to adjust.
It has to adjust, and it does take time. So what really, really helped me being so disrupted was a regular sleep schedule. So I really I used to like to go to bed like 11 but then I would already wake up at 1:30, right? So then when you sleep 2.5 hours, and then I was up for like 3 hours, and then you fall asleep again, exhausted, and you sleep another 2.5 hours or something. Yeah. So really shifting slowly my bedtime to about 9:30 is what I did. And I have to admit, I did not like it. I definitely had to cancel a couple social events because, they start at 8:39.
I know.
So I do have to say I had to kind of course, compromise a little bit what was going on, but I knew it's not going to be forever, right? But I did start slowly shifting my bedtime to 9:30, that I'm going to bed at 9, lying down at 9:30. It would fall asleep like around 10. And I did that. And I think, and I've seen that with my clients too, starting to have a regular sleep schedule is important. So you don't have to do 9:30 because there's research out now. It's about the regularity. So if you always go to bed at midnight, you can always go at midnight. As long as you get your 7 to 9 hours, it's not ideal to go to bed at like 2 every day, because then you're really off the natural rhythm with the light, as we said earlier. But the key is you need to have so you can do, now I'm not at 9:30 anymore. It's back to like 10:30, because now
but did you do anything else? Like, So everything that we're told to do. So you turn off your phone an hour before.
Yep.
Turn off all screens, right? Like no TV, no phone, no computer.
Yep.
Just do something calming. So either reading or just, laying in
Meditation.
bed and get meditation, getting your body used to just being calm.
Yep.
Um, Drinking
Food.
your tart cherry juice if you want to, but making sure like everything's done before that point, getting in bed. Apparently, you need to have a cool room. So not trying to fall asleep when it's 75 degrees, like
Yep.
bringing it down to, 68 to 70, your body needs to drop, I think 2 degrees, 1 to 2 degrees in order
Yep.
for it to fall asleep. So making sure that you have that. I sleep with a weighted blanket
Yeah.
to
So
help me.
I'm going to throw one in on the temperature. So yes,
Mhm.
actually when we fall asleep, our core temperature needs to fall.
Yeah,
We can speed that up if we
taking
put
a shower.
taking a warm shower before, or keeping your feet or hands warm. So you can actually
Oh,
put,
I always sleep with socks. My husband
but
thinks I'm
like
crazy.
you can put like a little heating pad or cherry pit pillow towards your feet, because
Mm,
that pulls the temperature, because it heats up the peripheral, it actually takes the temperature away from the core, and that can help you fall asleep a little faster too. Again, try it out. Works for me.
interesting.
Works for me. There's lots of studies on that. Making sure the weighted blanket can help. That is particularly also works really great for people with anxiety, and that has to
Hmm.
do with we have nerve endings. They call it the free nerve endings on our skin, and when there's pressure on them, they send signals to the amygdala, and that can help us calm down. And so the weighted blankets, again, it's all science backed up strategies.
Yeah.
Using a weighted blanket might help. But the key is regularity and implementing these things on a regular basis. One big thing we have not talked about is food.
Oh
Food
yeah, not
can big
eating.
time impact your sleep. I've been really making sure to not eat 3 hours before my bedtime.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to have my dinner.
Cut out the midnight snacks. Do not
Yeah.
snack after dinner. Your
And the
body cannot process all that.
and that's exactly like we said in the very beginning, the brain and body restore and rebuild at night. And if there's food too late in your stomach, it
It's
can't
concentrating on that.
it's concentrating on digesting, and it's not supposed to concentrate on digesting anything in the middle of the night. It's supposed to rebuild the microbiome and all that stuff at night. And so again, everybody's different, but if you're struggling, these are all strategies that I highly recommend to try out, see which one works for you.
Hmm.
So for me, I can tell when I eat at night, so I'm trying to eat latest 3 hours before my bedtime,
Hmm.
and it depends on also what I eat. I definitely noticed, because I am sensitive to certain foods, it does matter what kind of food I'm eating.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
certain foods I know, hey, I can eat that for lunch and I'm
Yeah.
doing fine, but I don't do good with at night. And how do I know? I always say track if you're really screwed up. Like I have been, I've been so much better now, but when I try, like I like this is the Aura ring. I
That's the
like,
Aura ring. I used to
that's,
use the
yeah.
Whoop
So,
bracelet.
I mean, there's different devices. I have tried out the Fitbit, which is pretty accurate as
I
well.
used to have that too. Hmm.
I have a Garmin watch for working out. Not the great. It's awesome for working out. It's not the greatest for tracking sleep, I have to say, in comparison. I have not tried out the Apple Watch as far as in comparison, because I literally had the devices on at the same time.
Yeah. And then you compare
And
them.
to compare them, and I have to say, for sleep, the Aura ring has been the most effective if you're struggling and you want to figure out how it impacts. So I can see if I had certain food that I ate, and noticing depending on how my REM sleep is,
Yeah.
deep sleep is, and how the quality, because it's the quantity of your sleep, but it's also the quality of your
Yeah.
sleep. And if you're not getting enough deep sleep, or you're not getting enough REM sleep, then you need to fine tune and start playing around with
So
what
interesting.
yeah, not. So I kept track. I always kept track on the
Yeah.
food. It makes a difference if
Wine
wine.
has
Yeah,
so much sugar
I,
in it. It used to
I I haven't been able to drink in ages. But it's okay. But it's also too, like, I don't sleep well if there's too much noise and action going on. I really need that calming.
Why would there be action and noise going on? It's nighttime.
For example, like when not currently, but I have kids in club sports, right? Like, and if basketball tournaments could be playing late, right? And in the gym when there's all that noise, and if the game goes till 9:30, it impacts my sleep because I'm sensitive, because that is such a stimulus for my system. So
your body can't decompress.
My body could not and we're talking about somebody like me who had really derailed sleep. No,
but I'm the same way. When I used to be when I was younger and I would work at night, so I was a waitress, and you're always like going, and there's a lot going on. It took me so long to fall asleep after those nights.
Yep. And when you really track it, you can see how much it impacts the quality of your sleep as well. So, that's I love the Oura Ring because it gives you a lot of detailed data. So works great for me. And a lot of my clients use it, and we can really look back then and say, okay, when you tried this out, how did it impact your REM sleep, your deep sleep, the quality of your sleep? And then go back and fine tune better, because if we don't have any data, it's kind of difficult. If you don't want to use any devices, again, it's a little bit of challenge. We're talking about, again, wavelength in the bedroom and stuff like that. Yes, you have a device on, of course. I personally don't like sleeping with a watch, but yes, you can turn these off almost all the way if you need to. But the problem is, when we don't have any data to kind of compare and track, it's difficult. Otherwise, I mean, it is possible to just kind of rate yourself in the morning and go, okay, how did I wake up on a scale 1 to 5? Did I feel like not great? Then it's like maybe a 2, and then you can look back. What did I do yesterday? How was my day?
What did I eat? Did I get sunlight?
Did I eat?
Did I move my body?
Did I move my body? Exercising matters. So exactly. And then for some people, exercising matters too. Not so much for me, but I know some people it matters. Did I exercise in the morning?
I can't exercise past like 11 or 12.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Everybody's different. And I hope that anybody watched this today really realize it's so individual. These were just lots of strategies to try out.
And we've talked about the importance of sleep in a past episode about we've talked about sleep and why it's important. And I think we did talk about a couple other tools in there about journaling and everything. So go look at that.
Yeah. So we have a whole series of talks we had before where, sleep is just so fundamental. It's needed. That's why we spent a whole extra session today on this one.
And we have more to talk about sleep.
We could keep going, but we gotta end it right here. But we can definitely go deeper again too. Feel free to comment below if you have any questions. Reaching out to Shannon, information is below. Reaching out to me, you can absolutely reach out to us. Ask more questions if you need more help with that. We're both coaches. We can help you, and hopefully you take away. It's very individual. There's a lot of things that can be done and can be rewired and reset and restructured again. You just have to try different things because there's no one size fits all. And
be consistent.
And be consistent with that. So with that said, I'm so excited. This was awesome. Well, it could have gone further and longer. So keep drinking water, not too much coffee anymore.
Don't drink too much water before you go to bed.
Oh, yeah, that one too. We didn't quite get everything covered, but I think we did a good job kind of giving an overview and a good span of everything. So until next time, thank you, Shannon. And
thank you.
We'll talk again about some cool stuff.
Okay. It was good seeing you.
Bye.